You have to really be ready for change, and I've found that a lot of that upfront change management and getting everybody on board is the biggest challenge to overcome. I think a lot of not-for-profits are challenged with how to make big investments and how to pivot and make change and when to do so. And I think it really needs to be well planned out and you need to take some time, but often you have to take some risks, and that's challenging for not-for-profits. They're usually tight on cash, very conservative. They don't have great revenue sources or dependable revenue sources. So making investments, really think about all of the change management aspects. So not only making the initial investment, but how do you execute the full implementation, and how are you going to operate on the back end? So do you have the people, the finances, and the structure and processes around to support that? So I think LPOs are really challenged with acting like a business. So they've always thought of themselves as a not-for-profit and different from business, but I would say they are a business, just not paying taxes in the same way as a private business. So they have to be agile and creative and move forward with new ideas, just like any other business. I think my philosophy around change management is having everybody at the table to discuss it, make sure we really flesh out all the ideas and alternatives, but also put it down on paper. I find that you can have lots of conversations, but until you put it down on paper, we're not always crystal clear that we all have the same vision. And then once we've all seen it on paper, we can start buying in and we can start executing on a strategy. How is it going to go forward? How are we going to make it work? Who's involved? So that we can actually all feel like we're going to realize the benefit at the end of the day.
When large changes are happening in an organization, I think it's important to engage all of the stakeholders in that organization in how those changes are going to be implemented. So that would include your board, that would include your staff. If you're a social service agency, that might include some of your clients. If you are an arts type organization, that would probably include your donors. So including all of those parties in the process that you're going to undertake would be key, and then having them feel like they've had a voice in how the changes are going to be rolled out would be really important.
Being on a board myself, we've had to look at strategic issues and step back and look at the bigger picture. And I often try to infuse in my clients the importance of a board looking at things strategically and not necessarily getting mixed up completely in operations.
I think it's also important that each of the organizations has a strategic plan in order to be able to measure how the board is doing, and for the board to measure how the management is performing. And if there isn't a strategic plan, then there isn't a compass for which to lead you in the direction that the organization needs to be. It's important that whoever is developing that strategic plan is a diverse committee, so it's the board members, but it's also there's a diverse subcommittee of what is important for the short term and long term, so that the not-for-profit is viable and able to execute on their mission and vision. Strategic plan should be a 3 to 5 year plan, which has both financial and operational, also branding, and also oversight as to what we are trying to accomplish as an organization over the next 3 to 5 years. That will give the direction to the senior management and also to the board. I think if you're part of the strategic plan and you help develop it, then you're also part of the future, and so you're part of the vision. And I think as board members, it's important that everybody buys in as to what direction the organization is going. And if you don't have everyone on board, then you'll have people going in various different directions. And it's like a ship that is like slowly moving in the wrong direction. And it doesn't take it very long to go into a totally different destination if the plan isn't precise enough and everyone is leading in the same direction.